Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good every moment of your time zone. Thank you, everybody, for being here once again as a continuation of our diligent study of Uttaratantra Shastra. We are progressing along very well. So now we will start as usual with the refuge and four immeasurables, which is to renewing our refuge, our sense of commitment to belief, to live and to practice as best as we can the way of Buddha in every single situation, not just formally in prayer situation, but in all life situation. So to remind us that we do this formal way of repeating these prayers. So let's do that, everyone. Thank you very much. O yenda Buddha Dhamma Asanga Adere Vedela Dhamma by virtue Adyehandala Ajare Padavadruebe Enda Buddha Dhamma Asanga Adere Vedela Dhamma by virtue Adyehandala Ajare Padavadruebe in the Buddha and the Mahayana, Ade refuge Enlightened by virtue Adye Ajare Buddha being. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know a powerful happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion, and never. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know a powerful happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion, and never. Happiness and the cause of happiness, may they be free from suffering, and the cause of suffering, may they never burn from the happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far, according to the intelligent and predisposition of it, the Yutanda Dharma Agrela and Kama So we are fortunate to be able to actually study the true qualities of the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, Buddha nature, the enlightenment, their qualities, and now in this last of the seventh Vajra point is the what we call of the seventh Vajra point what we call the Buddha activities, the enlightened activities. All the 6 other Vajra points we discuss, the consequences of the first 6 Vajra points is the enlightened activities. It is the enlightened activities of the 6 other Vajra points, of which the enlightened one, that influences us most. The fact that we are in the Dharma is because of the enlightened activities. So we started with the 7th Vajra point. The enlightened activities are mainly subsumed into 2. One is the spontaneous enlightened activities. Buddha's enlightened activities help us all spontaneously. And also, second quality is activities it's uninterrupted. There is no break, it's constant, it's incessant. If we are tuning to the Dharma, it's always online. Dharma doesn't have any glitches, that it doesn't continue. So the Dharma is always continuous. It doesn't have any technological glitches. Dharma is continuously. So these 2 are now being elaborated. There are 9 particular analogies that it uses to explain the qualities of the enlightened activities, that which is spontaneous and uninterrupted. So we have started with the first of the 9 analogies, which is the manifestation. The manifestation of the enlightened activities is likened to the manifestation of Indra. Yeah. So how does just like in the world, the enlightened activities manifest on many spontaneous way or deliberate way in the form of Rupakaya and so on. So Rupakaya manifests like the Indra, like Indra manifests in the world, in the world, and how Indra has a huge follower in the world. You wouldn't believe how many believe. I think actually more people believe in Indra than Buddha, even today. And so, therefore, using the Indra as an analogy, and how Buddha's manifestation, like Indra on the earth, how it benefits people. And then now we are looking at today with the third one, the result of that, in verse 297. The result of people entering to or accepting the Buddha, how does that influence us? So we have actually sent this handout that is for the rest of this term, in order to reduce the workload of others who are trying to send every week. I find it much easier if I can do it all and send it one go. So we have sent a verse up till now. Last 4 days, I deliberately make sure that we have enough. So up to verse number 336, we have sent it to you. So everybody have a copy of that. And so tonight we're going to start the Vajra point, enlightened activities. The result of that, though they may not realize, and this is referring to though they may not realize this means refer to us sentient beings. Us sentient beings may not realize that these are just appearances. Some manifestation of Indra, for instance. And because they may not take great notice because they're not aware of it. By this virtue, they will be reborn as gods after departing from the earth. So this means people who are honoring Indra, and even though it's an Indra's manifestation, it's not the real Indra, but by paying homage and believing in Indra, these people are now worshipping, doing good and dropping bad deeds. Therefore, due to the virtue of that, these gods, these people who are aspiring to become gods, will be departing from earthly realms, like the desire realm, and then go to higher realms, of like the six desire gods, and maybe even form realm gods, and so on. So this is the talking about the result of those who believe in the Indra. How many people believe, and likewise those people who believe in the manifestation of Rupakaya will also do the same. So how will they do? That is fourth one, which is non-conceptual appearance. The appearance of the Buddhas, the appearance of the gods, for instance, appearance of the gods are non-conceptual. These appearances are absolutely non-conceptual and changeless. So these appearances themselves are not consciously manifested conceptually, and therefore they don't have any thought that they're propelled to actually do this and then do that as if there was change happening. There's no real changing happening. However, their presence on the earth is of great benefit. Yeah, but the manifestation of the non-conceptual and changeless manifestation of gods that believers begin to notice that, then this causes them to be reborn. Yeah. It says their presence on the earth is going to benefit. So the gods who actually manifest actually end up being the ambassador for the Dharma, for the Dharma to be reaching to ordinary people. So that's just the talking about the appearance of the Indra and its effect. Now, the revealing the meaning of that is. Manifesting one's mind as a Buddha, because for the theistic people, it's the appearance of the Indra that they worship. Yeah, but in Buddhism, it's not the appearance of the Buddha, but appearance of Buddha is like a non-conceptual thing. They have to know about noticing, becoming conscious of their own mind. So, therefore, manifesting one's own mind as a Buddha, which is significantly much more meaningful. So it says, in the similar way, sentient beings with immaculate faith and so forth, will thoroughly, through practicing these qualities, will see in their mind the perfect Buddha manifest with excellent marks and signs. So now this is talking about that the function of this using that analogy, sentient beings also arouse faith and various devotions, qualities towards the Buddha that are immaculate, that are untainted. Because of that, they are able to produce the Buddha mind. Yeah, they are able to produce the Buddha mind, meaning by removing the hindrances, they are able to reveal their own mind. Their own mind is no different than from the Buddha. So what happened? They see them engaging in various conducts, such as walking. That's the Buddha, or anyone who's influenced by the teachings of the Buddha. Maybe they can see, like the case of Shariputra, when he saw Aswajit walking, standing, and sleeping, and sitting, and practicing Dharma, it completely captivated Shariputra's mind. He says, this must be the enlightened one. I must go and find out what his views, philosophy, doctrines are. The whole subdued manner of the mendicant, Buddha's disciple, Aswajit, made Shariputra completely to become attracted by the manner of the Aswajit. Thus, Shariputra was able to see the Buddha in Aswajit. He thought Aswajit was Buddha. And when he asked, who are you, and so on, then Aswajit said, I am just a mere disciple of the Enlightened One. And he said, I thought you were the Buddha. Because Shariputra was able to see the Buddha in Aswajit. Why? Because the very disciplined conduct of Asvajit by the influence of the Buddha has completely manifested the Buddha mind in the mind of Shariputra. Now, this is a true story, you know. If you look at how Shariputra was converted into Dharma, he first met Asvajit. Why? Asvajit didn't give him teaching. Asvajit, he saw simply where the Asvajit walked and stood and sat and slept, or whatever he was doing. It was just incredible positive revelation for him, so much so that Shariputra saw the mind of awakened behavior in the conduct of that. That's what I said. They see them engaging in various conducts such as that and teaching the Dharma's peace. The way in which Asvajit and the Arhats behaved was good enough in the past simply to captivate the faith, instill the faith in the minds of the ordinary. That was the old story. You know, that was always people are so moved and inspired by seeing that. You know. Or without speaking, they remain in meditation and perform myriad of miraculous activities with perfect splendor and brilliance. Now, this is talking about those practitioners, you know, arhats and disciples. How whether they are sitting or standing or not, you know, sometimes they don't speak at all. They didn't teach anything. They just remain there. They just always sat and they just always meditate, and they never indulge in aggression, physically, verbally, and they perform amazing kind of simple activities, but perfect to the liking of anyone who laid their eyes on them. We're talking about enlightened activities, yeah? How this behavior of Asvajit-like arhats were none other than the permeation of the behavior of enlightened activities of the Buddha. Because remember, Asvajit only a week ago was among the other 5 friends who had abandoned the would-be Shakyamuni Buddha because they couldn't stand him for whatever. And later, when they truly met the true living Rupakaya, Asvajit and Kaudinya and Bhadrika and so on, Valika and all of the 5 of them all attained arhathood within the first repetition of the 12 characteristics of the Four Noble Truths. During the second repetition, more, they attain the higher levels of arhathood. After the third repetition, they all attain arhathood. Why? That was because Buddha spoke to them, yeah? Buddha spoke to them. Even if Buddha didn't speak to him, but he simply sat there, would have done the same. Consequences of myriad activities of Buddha would have this amazing, how it makes all the 5 mendicants and all the other audience attain arhathood. You know, it says, with the Kaudinya, there were 60,000 devas who attained arhathood. You know, we only think in terms of the 5 monks, but there were many divine beings and other creatures who all attained arhathood. So this is talking about the benefit of the great merit of the simply beholding the appearance of the Rupakaya and witness his enlightened activities. Whether they are walking, standing, sitting, or doing nothing but simply them meditating in your vicinity, it will benefit the people. That's what they do. They actually build a temple or something. They just simply have a monastic or practitioner there, and they know his or her Dharma activities will bless the whole vicinity. This is because they all remember Buddha. They say, "Oh, this is Buddha's disciples. Look at them, how they behave." You know, if their behavior are very subdued and peaceful and non-violent and not greedy and compassionate and generous and so on, it definitely would make it to reveal your own mind as a Buddha. Because that's what everybody has, Buddha mind. They just are too distracted. This is the whole theme of this text, this book, is that we all have Buddha nature. But how do we awaken it? And who can awaken it? Only Buddha activity, which is constant and uninterrupted and spontaneous, can and will, providing that we ourselves create those causes and conditions. So that's manifesting one's mind as Buddha. This is very profound, you know. This is not saying how to find a Buddha who will liberate you and worship him, find a little relic of him, keep that in your possession, and go and show that to everybody and try to attract believers. It's not that kind of cult, you know. This is talking about making everybody see their own mind as the Buddha by virtue of the enlightened activities of the Buddha. You know, enlightened activities, with the radiance of the sun that dries your wet cloth. You know, sun that came in your backyard, dried your cloth. Yeah, but sun itself is very far, thousands and thousands of miles away. So look at the power. Look at the constant. The Buddha power is constant like the sun, and uninterrupted like the sun. It is universal like the sun. And so, and we just have to show the kind of a aptitude to that. So Buddha activities. We are basically have been all lassoed in the Buddha activity. We are all lassoed in the Buddha activity. You're caught in the net of the Buddha's compassion and the wisdom. So we should be ever thankful that the Buddha unleashed that net of his compassion in which we are kept. You know, we are. And then we have the kind of a aptitude and attitude to turn to Dharma, to turn to compassion, to turn to the qualities of the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, and then witness this. Yeah, so we are witnessing this. So we need to meditate. We need to meditate your mind and in your nature of your mind. Your mind is deprived of the label and gender and color and other ordinary worldly kind of antics or labels we put. Our mind is basically that. You know, we could see everyone's activities, everyone's behavior, whether they walk, whether they sit, as a teaching. As a teaching. Even if somebody yells at you, when your mind is seen as Buddha, you will hear them as mantras. You will hear them as sutras read in your ears in Greek language, maybe. You will not hear them as abuse or insult. Why? Because your mind is so influenced by even in Vajrayana, when you receive empowerment, you know, they say, oh, you received the mantra. Now what the man? You should hear all sound as a mantra, you know? What are you talking about? It's exactly these things, you know. Why don't we hear all things as a mantra? You know? Why can't we? You know, we can, you know. We can when our mind is more present in the Buddha activities and its radiance. We will hear all sound as a mantra. We will see the emptiness of the all other sound or other ears and or other nose and mouth and all the related organs. You see emptiness of all, but you can see your own Buddha mind hearing and knowing things for that really are. You know, this Uttaratantra Shastra is a Shastra. Shastra means Shasana, and then meaning guarding the Shasana. Shasana means doctrine of the Buddha. And doctrine of Buddha is not some temples or books. They are out of conventional forms. But real Shasana is when our mind is subdued by the ever ready torch of the Dharma light. When the Dharma is shining, we are in Shasana. We are Shastra. We are practicing the Shastra. Uttaratantra Shastra. It has to be practiced. Only when you practice, then you are observing the Shasana. Shasana means the doctrine, the teaching. And then if you observe the Shasana of the Buddha, then the Satra means to guard. Then when you observe the Shasana, it guards you from wrong perception or impure perception or negative things in the things, because you can see even if they didn't say anything. It says the Buddha didn't say anything, but just remain in meditation. You will still see them performing wonderful activities. When the Buddha was hurled rocks and all things by Maras, Buddha wasn't seeing them as rocks and weapons hurling. He was seeing them as none other than the other past Buddha's activities, testing him, his true practice and his vigilance. He didn't see them as something to intimidate him. He didn't see them. He saw them as a tester of his own practice and checking of his quality of practice. Because of that, his mind is seeing himself as a Buddha, and therefore no rocks or no weapons hurled at him and conventionally ever cause any injury to him, but they all turned instead of blossoms and heavenly blossoms that purified the whole atmosphere. What do we call? Sentient beings have deluded perception. Yogis have experiential perception. Enlightened ones has a pure perceptions. So the pure perception is possible to witness in any walking, standing, or any behavior of others when your mind is switched on to see your mind as one's mind as a Buddha. You know, this is the subheading you've got to see. This is the meaning of Indra, meaning of manifesting as Indra. Now the benefit of that is having seen these, meaning by having seen or perceived these pure Buddha images, Buddha appearance, they aspire, meaning the practitioners, those who have realized their mind as Buddha, now they themselves aspire and engage to attain Buddhahood. They themselves, like little bit of influence that is happening in us to practice Dharma, is Buddha activity. Is Buddha activity inspiring us, re-inspiring us, re-motivating us so that we actually walk towards the path, towards the ultimate aim. So therefore, aspire and properly engage to attain Buddhahood. Now, to properly engage in the 6 paramitas, So you properly engage to whom you need to be generous. You, instead of them being mean to you, you be generous. To whom you have to be disciplined. To whom those who are aggressive to you, you practice patience with them, not thinking they're aggressive to me. That is properly engaging in the 6 paramita practices, and then attain ultimately the Buddhahood. Yeah, this is what it says here. Having seen these, they aspire, and they means the devotees who are benefited by the Buddha manifesting through his enlightened activities. So we are all beneficiaries of the Buddha activities because we are aspiring, we are engaging, we are learning, we are sitting, we are reading, we are writing. This effort that we are putting is some small kind of examples of our share of generosity, our share of discipline. You are committed, you're giving your time, you are making your time, and you're not saying it's too much, too long, too late. You would say, no, it's just a great commitment, a great sense of joy and concentration. All of this is what it's called. They properly engage to attain Buddhahood, and they engage, meaning they are applying their effort and energy to do that. to do that by adopting perfect causes, meaning by doing this, we are adopting two things. One is intentionally adopting bodhicitta. Another is behaviorally engaging in the bodhisattva activity. So this is called by adopting perfect causes, meaning bodhicitta is the perfect cause, and then adopting of the bodhicitta in intention is engaged bodhicitta. So therefore, adopting these perfect intentional and engaging bodhicitta, the desired state will be accomplished. So the desired state is Buddhahood. And look at the Milarepa, look at Angulimala, look at the individuals like Ashoka, the ruthless Ashoka, who killed so many people. He's famous as emperor, but most emperors are only emperor because they killed so many people. They become known because they become the leader of the massacre. You know, Putin is getting famous because he's killing all these people. And like that, Ashoka was like that, but Ashoka's later part of life was completely changed. You know why? The benefit of the Buddha Dharma is change Ashoka to adopt the enlightened way, to drop his materialistic, mundane, kind of worldly way, and then he achieved Arathut. His daughter and son, the son is Mahinda, and his sister, both of them went to Sri Lanka. Look at the Sri Lanka, the tiny island of savages. You know, Sri Lanka is known for their savages. You know, most tribal cities, but they were all tamed by Dharma in as early as 3rd century, and since then, Dharma has never left that island. Look at the benefit of one person, one son of Mahinda, so the Ashoka, who was influenced by the Buddha activities. So we're talking about the Buddha activities. All these amazing great teachers, great Dharma upholders in India, in Tibet, in wherever we should all rejoice because they're all directly affected by the Buddha activities. Therefore, we have to think like this. And then the next one, number 3, is the non-conceptual appearance. Non-conceptual. The Buddha activity itself is not conceptual. Because whoever has pure mind, you know, they see the Buddha body in their mind. You know, it's not the Buddha said, "Oh, I'm going to visit him, and he will see me." It's not like the Buddha have to plan an appointment so that they can see in the mind of Mahinda and you and me. I mean that, and then we wouldn't have a chance because we'd be end of the queue. So don't worry about you being a late starter or something like that. Buddha activity will catch you when you are ready. They say when disciple ready, the master will appear. That master is not any ordinary people. Okay, don't ever get attached to people and think they are savior. They are not. It's the Buddha. You have to see the Buddha through the activities of the Buddha. Maybe the lineage masters, the student, of course, they themselves are influenced by the Buddha activity, sure. But what makes you to be inspired is the unquestionable immaculate qualities of Buddha, which is non-conceptual. You know, because he has included all sentient beings non-conceptually. When he first turned the wheel of Dharma, he said, in the language of gods, man, Gandharvas, spirits, gods, and beings in all realms of existence, he is uttering the Dharma. He already have taught you then. It's just that we may not remember, but we have already been non-conceptually taught by the Buddha. So when your mind is ready, you know, there is appearance absolutely non-conceptual and changeless. However, their presence on earth is of great benefit. So this is the repetition of the same verse that we had in 298. The 303 is because it's talking about the non-conceptual appearance. And then the result of that is is the ordinary beings do not know them as their mental manifestation. Yeah, ordinary beings, the ordinary beings who are not so apt, they do not think it's their own mind. They think it's Buddha out there. They think it's Buddha body out there. They think it's the jade Buddha. They think it's the ivory Kuan Yin. They think it's the Choedak in Lhasa, because they become like a theistic. So Buddha has turned people to become theistic, because they all cannot realize their own mind. In the long run, they will. In the short term, so they're all looking outwardly. Outwardly. This appearance, yeah. The ordinary beings do not know them as their own mental manifestation in the form of the Buddha. They think the Buddha is real. They think the Buddha is one who appeared in his meditation, Even in the conventional biographies, they write as in a way of praising the teacher's life. Oh, he had a vision of this deity when he was 22, 70 old, and list these things as the Buddha was especially gracing these Tibetan Lama, because he was such an excellent practitioner, as the Buddha was parachuting him. No. It's the realization of the good realization practitioners don't see the Buddha out there. When they see the Buddha, they say, wow, now the Buddha activities enable me to realize my own mind. And so they don't get attached to the Buddha vision they had in the dream if it doesn't repeat for the next 10 years. You know what ordinary people do? And they have a vision and it didn't appear again. They get attached to it. They wish they to occur again and again, because their realization is that level. It is the purity of one's own mind that is revealed by the Buddha images. So ordinary beings do not know them as their own mental manifestation, but seeing such forms become meaningful for them. Yeah, they write biographies. They write biographies to inspire others. And such saw this. Oh, Sachin Kongka Nyingpo saw Manjushri when he was 12 years old, when he was actually meditating on Achala. Amazing, He meditated on one deity, he doesn't see that, but instead he sees other meditating that he wasn't meditating. What they say they're trying to do, Gradually seeing them, those who are established in the vehicle will see the first inner Dharmakaya through the eyes of wisdom. So, if the people see the Buddha images, or taras, or some supernatural appearances, these supernatural appearances are a sign of unveiling one's own obscurations. It's not the Buddha travel from West Pakistan or some Odiyana. Or when you go to Odiyana, it's a barren desert, by the way. There's no Buddha there. There's hardly any drinking water there. There's only some old ruins there. Maybe some small pillars to make you believe it was actually remnants of Odiyana. Real Odiyana is your mind. But those whose pure mind is purified, then you're starting to witness these things. Those who are established in the vehicle, it says, those who have established practice on the path of accumulation, a path of preparation, and so on and so forth, then they are progressing according to the Mahayana, the path of the vehicle, will see. What will they see? They will bear witness to the inner Dharmakaya, which is nature of their own mind. And become, through the eyes of wisdom. It's not the eyes of flesh. No, we're not talking about a fleshy eye. We're talking about the eye that discerns the nature of the mind itself. So this is those who enter the path, they will be affected. They will be affected by likes of Milarepa, for instance, when he could see his greedy uncle who swindled him and his mother and sister, he could see those things. But later on, he's completely changed. His life is completely changed. Look at the songs, spiritual songs that he sang. These are all complete shift of him realizing his own mind. That's why he never tried to build a fantastic temple to attract many people. He just sat in the tiny little caves, and all the Buddhas appeared wherever he was. Because his own mind was unfolded. He's able to see the result. This is the result we're talking about. The result of him engaging in the believing in the Buddha activity, and so the believing in one's own potential of Buddha nature, and then nurturing the the naturally abiding Buddha nature by deliberately cultivating Buddha nature, by having refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, and then nurturing one's own Buddha nature. Then those qualities, therefore, reveal the hidden treasure that one's own mind is. So it's all about one's own mind unveiling from the debris of karmic, afflictive, and cognitive obscurations. And what makes these things possible? The Buddha activities. The Buddha activities makes the solar rays makes those blossoms to blossom, the sunflower to turn towards the sun. And otherwise was dry and was really miserable, but everything, all the flowers and all the plants come alive and they bear fruit, all of these things. If there is no Buddha activity like the sun, none of the plants and fruits will grow. Likewise, we will all languish in samsara of deluded me and always continue to languish in samsara. Had we not been affected by the Buddha activity, then you will see your own mind that is the Buddha nature. This is what they're saying. Yeah, we'll see the first inner Dharmakaya. Inner Dharmakaya is that Dharmakaya means Dharma means truth, Kaya means form of the truth. True form is emptiness. It truly shows emptiness of self. That is not your historical poor me. That is a mother of five, or that is ex of a difficult mother or husband or whatever. You don't see that anymore. That's the outer layer of this bruised me. The inner me is Dharmakaya. Inner Dharmakaya is the intrinsic pure nature of yourself. And you will be able to see that through the revelation of the effect of the Buddha activities. So that's the first one, revealing the Buddha. Revealing revealing the meaning, and then the appearance of birth and cessation. This is a subheading here. Now it is therefore going to show why we see the appearance of birth and cessation. And what makes the manifestation of birth and cessation? There are two. First one is the verse number 306, which is talking about the appearance of birth and cessation. If whole earth is free of fearful places and became immaculate lapis lazulis. So this is just like a kind of a hypothetical analogy, because we're talking about as an analogy, lustrous and beautiful with all that jewel's qualities. So meaning the whole earth is so even, like a palm of your hand, smooth, and it doesn't have any sort of gorgeous or uneven part. That everything was so immaculate and it is devoid of any wild beasts or untoward people or aggression or fear. It's completely free, but free of any of impurities, magnificent and of smooth surface. On account of its purity, then there would appear various divine abodes. Yeah, so the whole appearance of the abode. Yeah, we're just talking about appearance. Yeah, how appearance are unprevented, filled with the manifestation of the King of Gods. King of Gods here refers to the Indra. Yeah. So this is bringing back the analogy of Indra, yeah, bringing back the analogy of Indra manifesting in the world. Then, due to the lack of earth's qualities, meaning that because the heavenly realm doesn't have any of the problems of the earthly realm, yeah. So then, due to the lack of earth's qualities, gradually all would once again vanish, because it's on the earth that we replace one thing, and then it looks like everything is there. We if something die, we don't let it die and make it stay there. We quickly make it disappear tomorrow and replace it with a nice another plow as if nothing happened. So we always fooling each other as there was ever present. Don't let anybody see. Before 9 o'clock, people have everything done by tonight, so that everything looks perfect in the morning to fool ourselves, because it's not like that. Due to lack of earth qualities, gradually all would once again vanish. See, this is the teaching. It's appearing and disappearing, appearing and disappearing. Appearing and disappearing. This is all happening, but we don't want to believe anything is disappearing. We think it's appeared and it's there. We think that what appeared is stagnantly there. We don't see the appearance is disappearing. Another appearance appears, disappearing. We keep the same name, and then, are you John? Oh, you changed. Gosh. We're shocked that John has changed. We expected John to not change. Look at the remnants of the wrong view, that we think the appearance should stay put. No, here the appearance of Indra and his magnificent array and of the realm of Indra's palace and his beautiful celestial qualities and so on, they would appear incredible, and then they all disappear. The Buddha himself showed the happenings in the heaven to his half-brother Nanda and others, to show that however much people think it's eternal heaven, there is nothing eternal in the heaven. It's just the people think it's all permanent, but it's not. It's all transient, all impermanent, day to day. Yesterday wasn't today, today is not tomorrow. There is no repetition of the same thing. It's just constant change. So the appearance of Indra with his magnificent palace, and then vanishing of that. This is done. Why? This has three functions. Functions of the Rupakaya, and Rupakaya, how Rupakaya appears, and how birth and cessation appears only in the mind, not out there. So this is now revealed in the next few paragraphs. The verse number 307, the function of Rupakaya. No? Function of Rupakaya. So therefore, appearance of the Rupakaya is now have particular actions in order to obtain that state, bent on to take precepts of Uposatha, meaning that when people see amazing, immaculate, divine qualities of Indra, and in order to achieve, or if you observe these vows of precepts, 10 precepts, 8 precepts, you will be reborn in the Deva realm. So it is told, and they say, you will escape lower rebirth. So it is told, and they believe. And therefore, they observe the precepts of Uposatha. Uposatha means the 8 precepts, 8 precepts that you observe for 24 hours. That mainly the 5 precepts plus not eating after midday, and then not wearing ornaments, and not using very kind of luxurious bedding and sit and those. So one deliberately adopt the vows of those 8 precepts, and they deliberately practice observing silence. Also, silence is also part of it. The assembly of men and women scatter flowers. So people who observe these vows and stay within a restricted boundary, confined area, some of the Buddhist tradition, they really make the person not go outside the boundary of the temple or wherever they're staying to do the retreat. They really, people do retreat when they say retreat. They're not just sitting there going in a retreat and having no discipline whatsoever. They actually create a boundary, a physical boundary where they will stay in, where they will not go. And inner boundary in terms of discipline, what time I will get up, what vows I will take, what prayers and what ceremonies, what mantras and what devotion activities I'll do, when I will eat, when I will not eat, who I will not talk, and so on. And so when the person is observing these vows, then the ordinary men and women who see your diligence, who see your observance of these precept practices, scatter flowers and the like. Why? Because when they see people doing this, they become very aspiring. They become inspired by the people's devotion, and they also pray they also want to make a little merit by honoring you or by offering flowers or whatever, at least those things. So that is the meaning, and so. Now the activity of that is, she says, flowers and the like, with their mind full of aspiration to practice true generosity and so on. So that is the function of the Rupakaya. Now what does the function of Rupakaya do is in the same way. That's the analogy. In the same way, this is the analogy of the Indra, and then by seeing people Indra attaining such higher realms, then people are told that they should also practice. In the same way, now this is why this analogy is used. In the same way, in order to attain this king of sages, meaning Buddhahood, in order to king of sages. So Indra is used as an analogy. King of sages is the enlightened, comparable to pure lapis lazuli, who appear in the mind. So this is the practitioner. Likewise, the practitioner emulating like the people who practice in order to achieve heaven by worshipping Indra, and these people who also inspired to practice, they now see the Buddha mind, their own mind as Buddha, not as a kind of a Buddha out there. The victor's sons, with their mind filled with great joy, cultivate the perfect thought. Now we as a victor's, what do we call, sons, meaning the successors. We are as a followers, believers of Buddha nature, and the refuge in the Triple Gem, believe in the bodhicitta and the Buddhahood, and the qualities we are seeking to attain by seeing the influence of the activities of the Buddha. So then they also are filled with the great joy and cultivate the perfect thought. The perfect thought is to maintain bodhicitta. To maintain the bodhicitta for the benefit of all sentient, because bodhicitta is the Buddha mind. You don't have to go and shave your hair to become Buddha. You don't have to go somewhere. But if you have your mind filled with the bodhicitta, then you already have. Then you already have made aspiration. Even physical clothing or hair or lack of hair are simply to remind themselves as upholder of the vow of bodhicitta. So the outer garb or uniform is mainly to enable people to remember who they are. They are the offsprings, or they are the successor of the Buddha. They are the heir to the Buddha. They are victorious sons with their mind filled with great joy and cultivate the perfect thought. So they themselves are now realizing the Buddha mind by nurturing that with bodhicitta. Nurturing that with bodhicitta. Now, quite a lot of you already know the importance of bodhicitta. And you try to practice bodhicitta. You try to renew it. You say the prayer. Yeah, this is exactly what it's talking about. Now, because Shakyamuni Buddha Rupakaya has appeared in the world, his activities of coming to the world that happened 2,565 years ago, the pulsation, the heartbeat of that Buddha activity is making you to turn your heart to bodhicitta. Whether you rise early or abstain that and study this, practice this, do such and such for others, and so all of these things are the consequences of the Buddha's enlightenment, and you are conceiving bodhicitta. So we have good reason to rejoice. Therefore, if you really understand this verse, we should just stay present in just rejoicing bodhicitta. The highest meditation. It doesn't have to start with complicated rituals, and so on. It just stay. Even Buddha sat under Bodhi tree. What did he do? He just mindfully observed bodhicitta and nurture it. You know what happened? As a result of that, he fully realized that. And here it says, that's exactly, you need to fill with joy. Shantideva dedicated the first chapter just talking about the merit of bodhicitta. So that you can actually meditate on bodhicitta and stay very joyful. The fact that your life has become meaningful to not only hear and conceive it, but comprehend it, and therefore not looking for another practice, another teaching, another empowerment, another this teacher, their lineages, but always remember bodhicitta. Just stay present with bodhicitta, cultivate great joy of the perfect thought. That perfect thought is bodhicitta. The bodhicitta is the perfect thought. We pray, may the bodhicitta, the perfect thought, does not decline. May it be cultivated, we have not cultivated. Those who have cultivated that, may it not degenerate. Even the prostration, even the rituals, even the paintings, even the statues, all the rituals is so that we actually learn to guard the bodhicitta. That is the very function of the Rupakaya. Rupakaya is to ripen other beings. Remember, Dharmakaya is to liberate oneself. So Rupakaya is like a rainbow, which makes people to see it. So therefore, Rupakaya, Shakyamuni Buddha is coming to the world. When he was born, the earth shook 6 different ways. You think Earth doesn't know how to shake otherwise? Earth is not a kind of inanimate, soil and rock and fossils, It's Bhumi Putra, she's the great mother. She knows exactly what she's landing, what has landed on her back. And she just honoring the Buddha by beating drums and so on. She shook 6 different ways because of the arrival of the Dharma Rupakaya in the world. So that's why people go to Lumbini, where Rupakaya descended in form of Shakyamuni Buddha. It's the consequences of that coming of the Buddha that we are feeling the pulsation and the beat of the Dharma. So that's what exactly this verse is talking about, So we can always stay present anywhere. Just fill your mind with bodhicitta, great joy that you know bodhicitta, and just try to sit there and guard that. Remember, just repeat the word bodhicitta every now and then just maybe watch the breath or sit still and fill yourself with great joy. It says, their mind filled with great joy. There is no complicated ritual there. The bodhicitta is a very simple practice. But so long as you know that it is due to the dint of the Buddha coming as a Rupakaya, that the effect of that is making us to see our own mind as inseparable from the Buddha mind's Dharmakaya. These are not just teachings, When we practice, we do that. When we practice maybe refuge or whatever, for maybe good half an hour we do refuge prostration. At the end we visualize all the Buddha and we generate bodhicitta, and then we visualize all of the enlightened ones dissolve into us, and we are tranquilized to see that our own mind is delightfully inseparable from that of the enlightened one. Uttaratantra is the Shastra. Shastra is usually a kind of scripture that tells the theory of the practice. Your sadhana and your practice actually facilitate the Uttaratantra into how to practice it. So you can see your daily practices are very, very important. They're not just religious chores. They're not some kind of commitment. They're gifts. They say, I've got commitment. I can't handle another commitment. Gosh, these people have no teaching whatsoever. They don't understand the Dharma. They think it's another burden, No, you just have to reset your practice with more bodhicitta. Maybe, and just rejoice Kala Chakra when you receive Kala Chakra, but still bodhicitta is the quintessence of all. In the form, maybe, Kala Chakra is also Rupakaya. Vajra Yogini is Rupakaya. Avalokiteshvara Rupakaya. So you don't say how there shouldn't be more than one Rupakaya. It's incredible. The moon in the sky is one, but the reflection appears in every pot and lakes and water. So you will not feel, I got too many deities. This is so complicated. They haven't got the real deity, bodhicitta. The bodhicitta is the main deity, and all the deities are so that you don't forget the invisible bodhicitta, and therefore we introduce you with deities with the nose and ears. So then you feel comfortable. He's going for 4 hands and 2 legs and that's this, and you think they are your friend, Real friend is bodhicitta, remember? People forget bodhicitta in the 3rd century onwards because it's very complicated, And then Mahayana teachings, when the tantric teaching says how these skillfully developed tantric texts are facilitated so that people don't forget bodhicitta. So deity yoga is bodhicitta yoga. Emptiness yoga is ultimate bodhicitta. Even gurus are bodhicitta, If you don't have bodhicitta, what's the point of having guru or deity, anything? Therefore, all the deities are Rupakayas. This is what we're coming back to. They're all Rupakayas because the purpose of the Rupakaya is so that you realize your mind, and then that is filled with a great joy, and therefore assume the practice accordingly. So how Rupakaya is also, how the Rupakaya is appear to you is also due to you, appears only in your mind. How birth and cessation only appears in your mind. So verse number 309. For beings, the appearance and the disappearance of this reflection occur because either their mind is polluted or unpolluted or polluted condition. This is referring to the people who believe in Indra. Yeah, for people who believe in Indra, that appears. But likewise, ordinary people who believe in the external Buddha. External Buddha. Lots of people believe in external Buddha. They say, you should go to Wu Taishan, and Wu Taishan means 5-peaked mountain. They say if you go to Wu Taishan, you're definitely going to you're going to be bummed into Manjushri. People really believe that Manjushri lives there, goes in there in the afternoon in the cafe, sits in the yard in the morning. You might sight him. People think like this. People have this kind of belief, Believe. That's what we're referring. They're always looking. Appearance and disappearance, this reflection occur because of their mind is unpolluted or polluted. Manjushri appear in Tibet too. Manjushri appeared in Sakya. Why do people not go to Sakya and just where young Sachin Kunga Nyingpo said, and he said, he saw Buddha. Manjushri, we should also go and sit there. Manjushri is not bound by local things. No, it's whosever mind is not polluted, Manjushri will appear there. That's what it is saying. When your mind is purified, Manjushri will appear. When your mind is not pure, even Manjushri standing beside you, you wouldn't see it. And then the story of Asanga. Asanga. So that's why likewise, similar to the manifestation, the form in the world, these are not to be taken as existent or non-existing entities. So this means that we should not regard the appearances of the Buddhas when your mind is very, very unpolluted. When you see the Buddha, you shouldn't say, "Oh, Buddha exists here. You should sit here. You can spot him here." It's not that kind of existing Buddha. Or when the Buddhas don't appear, doesn't mean Buddha don't exist. It's not the existing and non-existent of the Buddha. It's a question is whether your mind is pure or not pure. Yeah, there's a beauty is in the eye of the beholder. They call it. They're probably saying in the mind of the beholder. They're not profound enough. Otherwise, they're saying the same thing. It's not that the object is beautiful or not. It doesn't mean the beauty exists in the object or doesn't exist. It's a total manifestation of the one who's thinking. He sees what he thinks, So if your mind is pure to believe in the Buddha and his practice of bodhicitta, your mind will itself manifest in the beautiful form, and when your mind is not polluted by any of the obscurations. Any of the obscurations would not when the obscurations are absent, you would not see. So therefore, we should not regard some things as existent or some things are non-existing as an objective phenomena. As the things are never objective. That's what it's saying. Things is only subjective. When you're subjectively pure minded, then you will see the manifestation. Because it only appears in the mind. Remember, the birth means appearance, cessation means disappearance. Birth and cessation only occurs in the mind of the person. When you love somebody, they look worthy of love. When your mind sees that love and you see hostility, then you see hostility. So that shows it's not that someone is worthy of love or worthy of hate from its own side. It's depending to what kind of mind we ourselves are conjuring up to bear witness to the enlightened ones. So what he's talking about is Rupakaya is simply manifesting in order to ripen us. When we are ripened, then we see the Buddha in everyone. Because we have a mind that is a Buddha-like, and then you can see the Buddha-like qualities in others. You don't have to choose objects so much, because you happen to have the mind that is not polluted. A mind that is not polluted will enable you to see these things. So I'll stop there, but what I've decided to do from here onwards is that I will read the Tibetan text, few pages each session, so that by the end of the course we would have all done the reading of the root text. So that means you can just sit there and witness your Buddha nature. It's much so maybe a little bit harder in practice, but it's very good because you have been very diligently listening to this wonderful discourse by Asanga and Rongten's commentary. I was thinking, the reading transmission is so important, the oral transmission. So I will read few pages each night, so that way you can meditate and. I have sort of estimated the length of text that is left of us, and we'll be able to finish exactly end of the term fourth by doing this. I didn't want to sort of spend reading the whole text the last night. I could do that, but it might be a lot more useful to do this. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. So bear with me. Namo Arya Laya Kedan Ludan Jinge Chukunda Dami Egananda Roa Kunji Danan Chisava Dam Jeke Do Dagi Shudendo Jagargedo Mahayana Uttaratantra Shastra Purgedo Tikwajimuji Lame Denjo Sanji Danju Madam Yalaja Anzala Sanji Zanganda Janjo Sanji Yontin Chelen Tamada Denjo Gunjilin Dodina Doji Yin Nidun Dago Dedaran Zeni Jendrawa Korim Chiji Sunji Javanda Nishilin Nezurija de Shin Shenalon de Chiyawale Sanjele Chola Pabazo Chola Ningbo Yin Kamdada Yeda Janjo Chodo Simjen Kunde Chijo Namda de Kaji Toma Wunda Meji Sanje Nira Nazanje Sanje Nene Mado Dojin Jime Dane London Ba Jenzera de Doji Chona Dunga Nyugu Chunze Nazo Dati Gigro Tezon Ziban Jingze de Lande Duma Chi Lunjun Shinji Jinji Domin Ba Kendan Zedan Nubrande Dunyin Dembe Sanje Toma Wunda Meba Ye Ranjin Ji Duma Chi Shiva Chuji Gujinji Lunjun Chao Jo Sozoran Doji Shinji Jinji Domin Ba Teta Namzon Domin Lamde Chena Tuzawa Nuba Jiji Tuji Donga Nyum Panjero Tambo Sumji Randun de Chima Sumji Hindun Ganshi Meme Yume Maye Yume Le de Hindowa Dabramin Nge Tanda Sozo Rangi Rijewa Cheme Jewa Zenande Mikba Gunla Chaba Dan Nandara Nambran Jumze Tamje Nima Telan Same Nime Dome Ba Taza Nimbu Joni Je Ganshi Gange Jarawa Deni Zenye Jende Jo Chara Ninen Goba Dan Lamje Damba Dagedo Korim Shi Yendada Yende Sumji Rende Sumji Yende Sumji Reja Dami Chedan Jumenje Pabe Genje Sameje Shinyi Nime Dome de Tasum Yen Nishendo Semderan Jiwa Zavena Nyamongo Mezebe Kanda Drogo Damen Daje Yanda Donen Tamje La Zobe Sanji Jeshu Chine Jiba Mebe Longa Wa Semje Namgun Taya Yujin Iji Zinga Telando Cheda Chinye Dangene Iji Zigba Dabe Lunde Chine Dobe Zo Lame Yonde Danyen Roa Shiwe Junye Da Doje Cheda Dide Ranshin Yin Yang Unda Bo Nyamon Danes Jejero Shijan Dado Doje Yonde Tamje Demba Tamje Kembe Chunye De Semje Tamje Laya Ja Tongde China Doba Nye Chidar Doba Kanyen De Soza Ranye Dongdowa Chime Yin La Chame Da Chom Tome Cheda Daba Yen Di Ishi Ziba Dabena Sanji Ishi Lame Je Papa Chimen Doba Ne Lujin Kunye Javieno Domba Demba Loben Domba Demba Loben Je Tewa Zumna Jela So Mbanam Je Wanje Ne Japsun Nambre Shaba Ye Panji Luwe Chujin Ye Mejin Jikdan Jewe Chuna Chona Nidan Pabe Zo Tenji Japjo Mayin Bo Tambe Dundun Drowa Ye Japyi Japne Sanji Nya Jin Ye Tuba Chuji Gujin Je Chojin Tuyo Tado Je Jungwa Kunji Jime Je Tunde Chidan Jikdin Genju Chidan Jonye Je Njurwa Meje Gonjonye Cheche Tejinyi De Chimame Chime Sanji Yonde Javan Ze Kanla Jingjo Se Gonjo Gewa Sumjo Wa Tanda Sikban Namji Yunyo Do Gonjo Sumbon Diere Tamse Sikban Namji Yu Tehan Namje Koren Shen Jushin Same Ja Tata Nyumo Bonde Je Kunne Nyumo Da Je Nambara Yewa Meje Je Lundu Nambara Medo Je Doja Doba Tiene Yala Dobra Meje Ro Korim Chi Yene Dene Daju Sumne Jeno Zozan Jene Jena, Zosan Kun Trojan, the Tini, Major, Rio Jena, Lujan, Tado Sanji Ningboji, Sanji, Semjan, Juja, Ranji, Jemed, and Yemed, Semjan, Sanji Rila, and Denya Daja, Drogon Sanji Ningbo, Gendozo, Yunde, and then Jubada, Negatian Kundun Travedo, Tado Menju, and the Yemen, Tundam Ingi Kundun, Renjanam Gachudaji, Tado Razan, Yomomi, and Major Jera, things in Zelejo, Tutan Menju, Lembengo, Ranjin, and the Dano Varanjanga, Chu, and the Chunduni, Chula Condo Dadawa, Corvette, Majin, Semjetola, Dumeje, and the Jemudin, and the Ranjanam Yetribaji, Tajula Bramabala, Sobe, Junanam, Tijola, Savan Shiran, Sanje Juja, Mata Samdenje, Devangan, Ninja Mamaji, Kayeta, Tubigena, Zanda, Dani, Yundan Parajimban, Donga Inju, Shidoba, Dundam Belejan, the Dante, and Orden, Chujikola, Chinjalo, Nambashila, Dobay, Nimbo up to Chavani, then Eran Tajada, Pajajan, Bawada, Dada, Metro, Bada, Nereshiva, Dameda. Magia Dambeda, Ejira Yabomboda, the Geology Giovanni, and Corodan and Yang and Nyambani, the Doja, does the Malaysia, the Semja Sage, the Yatundema, the Loja, Chanjo Tapden, Paban Koran and the menu, Kat the Sanje Kamena, Dungakyo, Minjurishin, Yang and Dela, the Bata, the Nyamba Mebranjo, Sita, Zetan Yang and Dela, the Londe, do the Gion Tawande. Rio Kanje, the Rimedala, Major, Jazochi, Bamebe, Yunde Gemezene, Yeme Yunde Dandebe, Oni Germameji, Moni Germameji, Chuji, Yeve Isheda, Tuja Kamne Dubeje, no Darinje Juene, Gazotan, Zumbrade, Temene Language, Ijeme, Namimeje, Marmei, Nanda, Jondo, Sozo, Gebazo Sanje, Tejin and Jubale, Denye Zebe, Gavin Bonded, Soso, Chinjalo, Demba Tonga Doba, the Yin Shiba, Chinjal, Chinjamala, Germania, Madame Tabada, Shindananda, Korean, Semjan Chanjo Zambada, the Yin Shiba Shijodon, Onila Sobando, the Rukin and Dubai, come the Nega Sondado, Minzum and Demba, Dome, Danije, Namga Kundu Jazonda, Semjira Yetemeing, the Yin Kundundrovani, Jizzetini, Yabani, Yondan Taro Jaba, the Sugi number Membada, Parmajola, Namgayan, Yabalo Tandem, Yondera Yinjada, Chidangashin, Chidashin, Yurame Bechu, Chunya, Chidananga Gonzawa, Trachin Yavakova, the Yesim Tamjela, Nindin Yakovami, Chidanjik Tamjedo, Nangalan, Gayinje, the Yindumachela, Wombona, Gayinje, Chidanamgaman, Yanganjanam Yasikbame, the Yime, the Yindin Chivada, Nadanga, Messenger, Sunny Chula Chulunda, Luna Kala Rabdune, Canelunda Chudada, Say Kamlane Maye, the Yampumbo Kawana, Ledanyamo, Tabane, Ledanyamo, Tsujin, Yila Jebadon, Tsujin Mai Yejene, Semyetaba, Semyetabara, Semyetabara, Semyeran Yeshuan, Tamjela, Nebame, Sadandrawa, Pumboda, Kinje, Namanga, Nagashibraja, Chungom Danda Lujin, Chungom Danda Lujin, Ledanyamo, Sheja, Tsujin Mai Yejene, Lungin Kamdan Drawata, Rajanam Kamju, the Yinjaman Nebame, Tsujima Yejene, Semyeran Yelade, Tsujima Yejene, Ledanyamo Rabd, Ledanyamo Chulena, Pumbo Yejenam, Tenjibada, Chabada, Jigbanji, Kedan Jigbanjuame, Semyeran Yenam Gayanam, Kadar, you make him, Zoba Mejan Gavada, Jidan Jibayo Mayan, Semyeran was a Kayan Bat, and Nam Gayan, you made Yandamindo, Legend of Jamel, Lower Jemenyomo Jemenjo, Leda Yomo Chuzoji, the Nongoban Remained. Chidangadan, Chidanadanga, Mezele Yatsemanjo, Dundanyawa Damabe, Mesum Chidanawada, Gava Mesum Chijudun, Dandavara Shibraja, Gigi Nadangawa, Ledova, Teran, Gigi, Donia, Jezopunda, Giant, London, Ninja, then. So we finish with 67th verse there. So we have a bit of time if people have any little questions or comments. which we didn't have time to do in the previous session. So please feel free to ask any questions if you have any in relation to these teachings or whatever is concerning related with the Dharma. So please feel free. We have a little bit of time. Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself and we should hear you. Anyone in this room who speak, they will hear because the mic is very good. Yeah.
Rinpoche, it's Kathy. My internet's very bad, so I can't put my camera on, or I might lose the sound.
Perfectly fine. We can hear you.
Okay, great. So thanks for the teachings, Rinpoche. They are truly wonderful. You said about our mind being polluted. Would it be polluted with the 8 worldly dharmas?
Oh, yes, of course. They are very busy. The 8 worldly dharmas are very, very integral part of the pollutions. As long as there is a cognitive self-grasping, the 8 worldly dharmas are the knitter of all the obscurations. Yes, they are. 8 worldly dharmas are what we call the you don't like loss, you actually like gains, you don't like suffering, you like opposite of suffering, you actually like you like people praise to you, you don't want people to disparage you, and all this kind of you don't want to lose anything, you want to win everything. This kind of dualistic things are 8 worldly dharmas is just a summation of all dualistic conceptions. Yeah, so all the polluted nature of the mind largely comes from not being present in remembering the bodhicitta and our precept. Then as a result of that, we become polluted by grasping to me and my well-being now, and we become so self-centered with ourselves. And then as long as the self becomes the main concern and forgetting the well-being of others, and we don't remember the Buddhas and Our Refuge and the Buddha nature, and then that's where we depart from these teachings, and then we just loiter with the worldly dharmas. Yeah.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Welcome.
I have one trick question, but I'll just ask the easy question. I think it's easy. Many people request lungs of this and lungs of that, and traditionally I see that the lungs were very long. There's lots of reading from teacher to student, and I do appreciate that you're doing the lung now, and in the Bodhisattva way of life was done the lung of that. So I'm wondering what is because I'm thinking it's good, but what is its purpose, function, and its outcome, or
lung is Paul's question is, what's the purpose of those lungs? Like usually in traditional setting, if any teaching is given, like sometimes they spend 2 months just reading the whole Kangyur. The teacher who give the lung, he will just sit there, read, everybody just sit there. And almost the lungs are reading is inaudible. Most people can't follow word for word. They're not listening as a teaching, they're listening as a agama, means it's like kind of a prophecy that you will understand them in the future because they've been read to you. Whatever you have heard has influence to you sometime in the future, isn't it? So if you have heard the lung of the text, then you have received almost 1/3 of the blessings, 1/3 of the goodness, and second maybe the teaching, and third maybe your own contemplation. then you will realize. So therefore, traditionally, giving lung is what constituted the existence of the lineage. The lineage of having heard the lung, and the tea is the teaching, these days, of course, most situations, teachers are giving teachings sort of informally, giving talks, not based on particular authentic traditional text, So during that there is nothing to be lung, no lung, because it's not teaching on the basis of a text. But if you see most traditional settings, when people learn this, they always textually based teachings. When the textually based teaching is given, the lung is must be given separately. Like say, Lamre is given, His Holiness might give Lamre by himself, which is main teachings, but someone else, some assistant of him, one of the other High Lamas, will give the lung, read of the maybe 2-3 volumes. Like when His Holiness Sakya was giving the collection of Tantra in 2019, wasn't it? Yeah, 19, in Bodh Gaya, he was giving those, like half a dozen empowerment in the mornings, and then in the afternoon, Ludeng Kempo would give the lung. He will read the whole, it's just as long as it was, duration was, he will be reading, During that, people have no text to follow. They just sit there, be present. And they do this formality, same. They offer mandala at the beginning, prayer requests, and so on. But actual merit of hearing the lung is considered as incomplete if you don't receive the lung. Particularly that the teaching has been given on a very traditional, authentic text, Like this text is very, very authentic text. It has origin in India, definitely Asanga, and then from here then onwards it's translated into Tibetan, Chinese, and then it become almost like one of the main texts studied among 13 other texts, in the monasteries. And so they have to memorize this. Even if they memorize, they have to receive the lung teaching, and then sometimes they also have to do oral examinations of the text themselves. The whole root text they have to read. That's of course for formal sense. But receiving lung is almost like heard blessings, because thus I've heard, they call it. What if you haven't heard? You haven't heard this. Like if I haven't heard this teaching, I'm not permitted to teach. Even I can understand the text by reading it, because you can, but if I haven't heard myself, then I cannot teach to others, let alone read lungs. So this is what I'm saying. Oh gosh, I received the lung from Khenpo Kedrup, who gave it to His Eminence Shogye Trichin in Lumbini in 1974. It's quite a it almost happened out of the blue, because and I was, because His Eminence is like attendant, student, as well as mostly attending his needs, and whatever was happening around his life, I was there, And when I remember very clearly the Khenpo Kedrup's accent, and what he said was, the 7 Vajra points. It really, really, because I heard him. So therefore, I wanted to call this 7 Vajra points rather than the Uttaratantra Shastra people. What's that? If you say 7 Vajra points, it says in the second verse that it lists the 7 Vajra points. So because I've heard it, therefore it has impacted blessings and hopefully some little goodness that is yet to develop in me might come as a result of that, So therefore giving lung is very, very traditional, and the tradition can die, if these are not kept.
Some magic can happen with a lung if the student's receptive, teacher, the situation, some sort of understanding can happen within the lung?
Yeah, definitely so. Lung empowerment teaching, these 3 are very important. If you receive the empowerment in Vajra sense, then you need teaching on the sadhana. Then you need the lung on the sadhana. If you have these three, then something definitely going to happen. That's the blessings, and that's the kind of truth of the Dharma. You know? Yeah. Yes, please go ahead, Claire.
Oh, Rinpoche, did I hear you say in the teaching tonight that when the Buddha gave the first recitation of the teachings, then all beings could hear? All beings in all the realms could hear those teachings?
All beings were included.
Yeah, were included in hearing those teachings, or in those teachings being relevant to them.
I mean that.
Because if it's the first one, it's like, well, we've all received the law.
We may not have been maybe a precious human rebirth, or a very, very interested student, but we being sentient being in general, because Buddha said he was teaching for all sentient beings, his domain, range of giving the teaching was all sentient beings. This is what I mean, you know. Whether we were consciously with the right human body or life at the time when Buddha taught is anybody's guess. Probably not, you know. So we probably were some alligators eating a hyena or something like or something like that. We don't know what we were, but I'm saying Buddha. Not only Buddha intended for all beings. Actually, most of the time, when all the great teachers, when they teach, they should always think of that they're teaching this for the benefit of all sentient beings. So when they read the sutra or whatever, so unofficially we are all within the domain of those great practitioners. And we should always feel we are under the protective pavilion of their wisdom and compassion and inclusion. Just question how receptive we ourselves are, permitted by our particular set of karma and rebirth and life situations. And I was today listening to a little bit of teaching by His Holiness Dalai Lama, and then. You know, and like His Holiness, like in the Buddhist teachings, we always list what are the 18 things that makes your life precious human rebirth. I was thinking, all the first 17 are nothing if it wasn't the last one, 18th. The 18th was having faith in the Dharma. If you didn't have faith in the Dharma, even if the Buddha came, even if the Buddha taught, we still are not responding, you know. Even we are born, you know, one has to be born in a central land, you know. One should not be intellectually handicapped. One should not be a barbarian, and those are personal endowments. But last one is, but you have to have faith. If you didn't have faith, even though you have 8 freedoms and all the other 5 circumstantial endowments, 4 other, you know, personal endowment, but if you didn't have faith to the Dharma, your life is not precious. You wouldn't even notice Dharma exists. So the last of the 18 precious human qualities is the most important one. And this kind of text try to hatch that faith, hatch that devotion, because it's such a positive text talking about the prevalence of the Buddha nature in all sentient beings. Yeah, so we definitely were included in the range of the Buddha's teachings. So that's one way of that's yeah, that's good way of, you know, people say please think of me, but I'm sure Buddha would have thought of all sentient beings when he taught, and then the merit of that is still beating the benefit. Yeah.
possible to give a lung in English, or does it have to be given in Tibetan? And does lung mean wind?
No. Lung doesn't mean wind. Lung means agama, means transmission, oral transmission. Oral transmission so far is only given in Tibetan. So when they give oral transmission or mantra, they always read in Sanskrit. They never give in Tibetan. So I don't know when will happen the lungs can be given in English. It probably will take a couple of 100 years until the Dharma is so well established that the language is so well standardized, and people in a huge congregation of 5,000 people all chanting refuge and four immeasurables and Samandabhadra prayer all by heart. When this sort of happen, when all the teachers are English-speaking people, they no longer have to use Tibetan or Sanskrit. If that ever happens, then maybe lungs will be given in English. But I think that's a good question, Carolyn. I don't know when they start giving lungs only in Tibetan, in Tibet, and stop giving them in Sanskrit. That's a really good point, because Tibetans therefore always kept the minimum, the Sanskrit title, Sanskrit title of the text in the beginning of the text, so that they know that it has been originally all in Sanskrit. They always keep the Mahayana Uttaratantra Shastra. That's the Sanskrit title, but then the rest is on Tibetan. I don't think it happened in Tibet. Like say in around the beginning of 13th century, there still were some Indian panditas visiting Tibet, but by that time, the Indians couldn't believe how well the Tibetans has standardized everything in their language, and we have such a visionary king like Songtsen Gampo, who developed the written language, which is completely designed to cater translating Buddhist language in Tibet, Buddhist teachings in Tibetan language. And I think that right now the most European languages are a long way off from becoming officially accepted as giving the agama. In agama, it's called Sanskrit, or in Pali, agama. In Theravadan tradition, there's a lot of sutra chanting sessions. You might have a 10-day kind of a marathon of senior monks all taking turn to read the sutras, and the lay people and the monks are all sitting there listening, and they're chanting the sutra in a melody and so on. They're all. And people might even understand when they're reading if they are good in the language. But because there's all read in Pali, only it's like reading the giving lung in English, Tibetan. So like the Theravadins would hardly do any chantings in Burmese or in Thai. They all do in Pali. They have had Buddhism 500 years earlier than Tibetan Buddhism, but they have not adopted giving the transmissions in Thai or Burmese. They all give in Pali. So from that point of view, you can see how conservative that Pali tradition is. Yeah. Whereas the Sanskrit-based Buddhist Mahayana literature, like Japan, or I don't think there is any tradition in Mahayana and Japanese to give lungs. They definitely lost quite a lot there. In Tibetan, the Wang, Lung, Ti. This Wang is the empowerment, Lung is the transmission, and Ti is the teaching. These three, if you don't receive these three, you didn't receive the full thing. And so if you receive your root of Wang, your root of the Lung, your Lung of Ti, you receive from one teacher, then they say he's my root guru, because he's root of your Lung, he's root of your Wang, he's root of your teachings. So receiving these three are very essential. And it seems that that sutra chanting periodically or annually is very strong in Theravadan tradition, and they actually have the sutras chanted only by very senior Mahastaviras. Mahastaviras are the monks who have been ordained more than 25 years as a bhikkhu, and they are the one who hop on the Singha Gaddi or something, the lion throne, and then he reads the sutras. So the reading of the sutra and people listening is a very important formal occasion. In Tibetan tradition, we have people, some lamas give the whole lung of Kangyur for 2 months. 2 months. He's very good. Most of them, they are very good readers. They can just 2 months is like 60 days, and they read sometimes 1.5 volumes a day. And everybody's there. They all get fed morning till evening, and they have tea breaks, and they got a really good time. They're all sitting there listening to the sutras and tantras and vinayas, and they all get fed, and a lot of devotees come, and a lot of benefactors make that. And there's some lamas in all Tibetan Buddhist tradition who has been giving these lungs. But most of the Tibetan lineages has becoming, because of lineage-centric, they mainly give lungs of their own lineage teachers' writings and works, not so much of the Kangyur and Tengyurs. The Kangyur, Tengyur lungs are given on a very rare occasions. If somebody who gives that, most people will go, if time permits, no matter which lineage they belong to, because it's not lineage-based text. It's a whole Buddhist text. So I know the late Seraje Kempo, who was a teacher in Buddha House in South Australia. He's among few I know who gave the lung of Kangyur, and therefore some people call him Kangyur Rinpoche. He earned the title Kangyur Rinpoche because he's the few Gelugpa Geshes who have the lung, and also was asked to give because he was Seraje Kempo, of course, it's very senior, So when I met him, people call him Kangyur Rinpoche. I said, well, what's that? He says, that's not my name. Yeah, so the lung is very important. I don't think giving lungs in English will be. Firstly, the text has to be standardized, and it takes a long time. You have no idea. Anyway, so we'll conclude here, everybody. Thank you very much. So for the next remaining part of the sessions for this, we will go in this pattern like tonight. We'll do about 9 verses, and then do about another 50 or 60 verses, and then take some questions. Thank you very much. We do the dedication of merits. Thank you. Please dedicate the merits so that all these people, thousands of people, have been killed in a flood you wouldn't believe, in Pakistan. Nearly 1,200 people, villages, completely drowned in big rivers, Indus, and not to mention many people are in a very tough time. So please include them in this dedication. Follow zambu ajade dege de mere mede zelembo de jida tebe no yaranzo vera dembo me dengre rele veda de Okay, thank you everyone.